Hello everyone, this is my week one work, just some of my reflections on the self-awareness work for this week. I do a fair bit of different types of meditation and mindfulness practices. This is the first time doing Headspace, so I've been doing it for about 6 weeks. And I love it because it starts to slow me down a little bit and starts to help me to observe what's going on in my body, my mind, like what's going on the inside so I can manage it on the outside, essentially. So here's a great example of how this headspace and mindfulness meditation activity has started to help create space between a stimuli or an event and how I choose to respond. So on Sunday, I took Tobias to a track and field meet. And I didn't really want to go, to be quite honest, but he really expressed a lot of interest in going, so I said, okay, we'll go. And he was competing in two events. The first one was supposed to be at 11 a.m., it's a 100-meter sprint, and the second one was supposed to be at 2 p.m., which was the 200-meter sprint. We get there early. I think we get there about 9:40, get all warmed up and all that stuff for his 11 a.m. event. Things are running late. Things are running behind. And like really behind. So it's 12:45 now. It's almost 2 hours late. It's 12:45 and his event is just starting, but it's starting for grade 2s and then grade 3s before it gets to his grade. He's in grade 4. And just as they're about to start, what happens? The weather goes sideways, huge thunderstorm, and they announce that there's going to be an hour-long weather delay. So now we're looking at best 1:45 before he's going to compete. My reflex, my reaction to this stimuli, to this event is, let's go home. I'm not trying to stay here the whole day. But here's where the mindful meditation really helps me, is that it builds space between an event and it helps me to observe my reaction. So I don't actually say, let's go, let's get out of here. I just observe myself saying it. And then I have space and an opportunity to decide, how do I want to respond to this in this situation? And how I want to respond is as a caring parent, right? So my question instead of reacting and say, hey, let's get out of here, my question became to him, what would you like to do? Do you want to stay or do you want to go? And he said, I want to stay. I said, okay. So we stayed in the car while there was thunder and lightning and rain and all that kind of nonsense going on outside. Looked like the end of the world. And sure enough, in an hour, everything cleared up. And he got a chance. At 2:15, he competed in his event. And he won his event. It's his first time competing in a club track meet. It's his first time running 100 meters. He usually runs 80. And he won. So he was thrilled with that. And I was thrilled that he wanted it bad enough that he was willing to demonstrate the patience of waiting 3 hours. We talk about patience in our house, and that if you want, we also talk about your will. If you want something, then you got to put the work into doing it. If the work is patience, then that's what it is. And then I asked him after that, do you want to stay for the 200? He said yes. There was another rain delay for another hour after that. We ended up sticking around, and he won the 200 also. So that's how, for me, some of this work sort of manifests itself. Instead of me reacting, so let's get the hell out of here, it's raining, it's uncomfortable here. Instead, it becomes more about what do I want to be? And I want to be a great parent. And I want to teach my kids important lessons. So that's what went well. What didn't go well is I only did 3 meditations, headspace meditations this last week. And my intention was to take 10 minutes out of my day, at least every day, 7 days a week, for a number of reasons. One, 10 minutes is not a lot of time, and it's for yourself, right? Like, I'm always on the go. It's important that I prioritize this 10 minutes. I heard Carly use that term, prioritizing that 10 minutes for myself. So I want to do it every day, because for me, doing 3 times a week is just conforming. So going back to our productivity continuum, that's like conforming versus really being committed to it. I think doing it 7 times a week is good, and I think getting it in twice a day is probably where I want to get to. And then I kind of already spoke to what I observe about myself. I do observe that I'm a little bit calmer. I'm less apt to react and more apt to just observe what's going on in here and manage it on the outside so that what's going on in here doesn't affect how I behave on the outside. And then as far as feedback, I'm fortunate in with some of the firms that I work with, they're feedback-rich environments. So I've gone through the discomfort of getting feedback in everything I did when I'm working with groups of executives, and I've got a senior coach in the back of the room observing what I'm doing, and giving me, writing down notes and all this kind of stuff, and then debriefing me after. But what I started to learn about this, at first it was really uncomfortable, but what I learned is that these people who were giving me feedback, they wanted me to be my best. They were giving me feedback to help me to be my best. It wasn't like they weren't petty and saying you're an idiot or anything silly like that. It was really everything geared for me to be my best. So I think if we can put that frame on feedback, it really helps. And now I'm in another, working with another new client in another feedback-rich environment. And again, and some of the coaches who I'm working with, they're not the best, in my opinion, in their delivery, but I framed their delivery that I don't even get caught up in how it's delivered. I'm more focused on the fact that they're giving me something to help me to be my best, and I'm taking that hook, line, and sinker.